YouTube Asian Persuasion. Here with my boy Slim.
Woo!
We got my
Mr.
boy Trip.
Bortle. Enforcers.
We got Enforcers.
The world.
We got everyone. And we're here with my homie Ruben, who got top 4 of the UDS Tulsa, playing what deck? Best deck, what is it?
Spiral.
Second deck. Second. Which Trip says Pendulum.
Pendulum Spiral.
Oh, that's nice though.
Coming,
bro.
Coming
Bro,
next.
don't.
Bro, my bad.
You can't tell everyone what we're playing for Vegas, okay?
Yeah, man, this is a fake list.
Secrets.
Just kidding. No,
Start off with shout-outs, obviously,
let's do
so
it.
no one forgets and doesn't watch at the end of the video. Shout-outs to Kamal. He's the person I test with the most. Theory. Shout-outs to Manav. He stayed up all night with me testing the deck the night before. We went to sleep at like 8 in the morning.
Story before you say this. They went to test at midnight. I go sleep, whatever. I come back 7 a.m. They're still there.
We built the best. Like, I really think it was the best deck. I got unlucky in top 4. It happens. But there's some things that I could change with it that I'm gonna mess around with. Maybe add pendulum cards. You never know.
Wink, wink, pendulum
Yeah.
cards.
Shout outs to everyone back at home. Shout outs to everyone I haven't seen in so long. The squad, obviously. Deuce, he's right there.
Oh yeah, you already.
He's nice.
We love Deuce. Deuce is nice.
Yeah, we love Deuce.
He's
Yeah, just shout outs to everyone that I've hung out with this week, and it's been a while since I've been to an event, so it was really fun.
and you performed
Yeah.
so it was great.
Let's get into it. So obviously, one quick fix, one drones. They're not that good, so you only play one of them. Yeah.
No, Konami did
Yeah.
it for you, bro.
Yeah, so like they're not that good.
My bandless.
2 agent, 1 tough. So like essentially 3 agent. This is just better going second most of the time. Like there's times where you want this to be a special summon and then your hand just becomes stronger. But I didn't want to enter the tournament without tough in my main deck because I am infamous for losing die rolls. So I really just wanted to be safe, and I played against 8 guys throughout Swiss, so it was really important to have tough in my deck. Yeah, just going like resort tough every turn was crazy.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Yeah, it was really important. Then next to the Spiral Monsters, obviously, 2 Mass Plan. 2 Mass Plan is important just in case you draw one with Souls. You always want to resolve that card. It's the best card in your deck. So it also comes up in one specific combo where you need the Mass Plan in your graveyard, so you can Griffin your opponent, Curious them for any random card that you want, do the full combo with Sleeper. But the thing is, you run out of monster in your graveyard to banish for Sleeper, so you need the second Mass Plan in that specific combo. Obviously, Sleeper, Last Resort. We thought about cutting this, but it's too strong. Like being able to protect your Sleeper is really important. I lost 1 game because I just couldn't keep my Last Resort on it versus Jesse. We grinded for about 30-35 minutes. My Sleeper came on the field, I think 2 or 3 times. It's just I didn't have a way to protect it, so my board kept blowing up and I couldn't establish any control. Obviously, the
God card.
Yeah, the God card essentially. This card's crazy. Obviously, sends Mass Plan, draws cards. This is probably the best extender in the deck. You don't have to normal summon to use it, but this is the last card you ever want to activate because it's so strong. It can push. It can see multiple cards, discarding trap spells. Your opponent's like can't play around it. So if like you start with like a normal summon like Tough Agent going second, like you bait 1 or 2 interruptions, then you go like activate like Goods, try to push again, and then you summon Souls. They shouldn't have enough pushes to keep up with you at that point, or even if they do, you should establish more control than they do. Yeah. Then my favorite engine in the deck, 3 Scrap, 1 O-Line, and then apparently my best friend because I drew him 4 out of my 5 Top Cut matches, or 5 out of my 6 actually. This engine's crazy. Me and Manav agreed that O-Line was just better than Jet Synchron because we wouldn't have to discard a card, and we wanted to keep our hand advantage. As you're going to see later, we decided to main hand trap, so it was really important to not lose any cards just to try and combo. And it makes it like a 1-card starter, so when you draw it going second, you can just play freely. Then onto the hand traps, 2 Ogre, 2 Crow, 2 Droll. These are like somewhat standard for the main decks. These aren't hard ones for turns, but we wanted to have more impact by drawing different hand traps together. So like drawing 2 Crows, it's strong, but it's like drawing 2 Drolls isn't. So I wanted to like space them out and just be able to draw any combination of these, and they should be able to stop any turn. The Ogre was very good versus the Luna deck, either hitting a Tiger so they can't reoccur, or hitting Redoer so they can't search Gamma. They don't have the Redoer on my turn is really important. If I ever played against Triff, I would have Ogre his Servant. If your opponent doesn't play around it, they can get punished by you just Ogring Resort, Ogring Helix. Like it's just the most like overall decent hand trap versus every deck. Like I Ogre Debug in my bubble feature match, and it just made him pass turn. It's really good. They all work great. I never like once wanted a different. The only one like this could have just been impermanence, and the reason it could have been impermanence was just to beat Winda game 1. Yeah, Winda's like very hard to out. That's the reason I lost. So. That's one of the changes I would make. Then obviously 3 Call by the Grave. We don't want to lose to hand traps, and that's another reason we played just 2 ofs, because we didn't want to draw Call by the Grave and have to Call by the Grave the same hand trap we have in hand. 3 Goods. 3's a lot. I did see multiples a couple times, but I just wanted to be able to play almost every game and just make my deck as consistent as possible without losing to Droll. That was the same reason for playing the scraps. I thought that everyone would just be main decking Droll. It's not awful versus like the scrap version, but you can just play around it easier. It's good versus like the danger version or the popper up, which got very popular this weekend. So I thought it was extremely important. It can also like help post board to like set the floodgate of choice or trap of choice that I decided to play. 2 cards. So it's literally in line. I told Manav, let's just play a second one, and it was our 41st card. It came up so many times I think it came up at least once every round, if not multiple times, just being able to summon back a monster in the grind game, it being able to protect from battle, it's just crazy. Some people just don't read their cards. Obviously the best field spell ever printed, another copy of it. Foolish, 1-for-1, Reborn, so like all these cards are standard. And then the one of you don't want to draw, Assault. Yeah, it sucks, but you have to play it. And then the 3 probably like arguably best cards in the deck because it's just not once per turn. 3 more Reborns, and then Utility Wire. This card we decided to main deck just in case we got Mind Game one or just had a random floodgate come up. This was just extremely important because we heard a lot of people siding mine or even main decking mine and going second decks. And I didn't want to just auto lose to them going mine, sleeper pop, bait Tri-Gate, activate mine again, and then I just scoop. So it was really good. It won me a lot of games. It got sided out a decent amount of time, but it's really good versus the rogue decks. Tokens, Kamal, we miss you, buddy.
Oh, bro.
So as you saw, since we played DD Crow, we played the one that searches it. I'm a big fan of the Princess route because it can typically get you an extra extender, but if I'm main decking DD Crow, there's no reason not to play it. Then obviously Link Rebo, Barricade Blocker, is one of the better cards in the extra deck. 2 Helix, God card. This card's so dumb. I summoned 2 a couple times. It didn't come up too much. It was just to put respect on the Dino deck. I didn't want to get Lithosasm turn 1 and have to rely on hard drawing souls. Probably the best Link monster in the extra deck. So many people just like would not stop this, and then they hand trap me later once I'm already on a Curious or an Appaloosa, and it just doesn't matter. Or going second, it's just a free non-targeting pop. It's just so strong and so versatile. There's so many ways to combo with it. It's crazy. Obviously, the 4 Nightmares, you can't play without these. They're all important, Griffin being my favorite one. It just sets any card you need, and being able to side deck Floodgates with triple goods in your main deck makes so you play 4 copies when you need the card, and Curious in your extra deck gives you access to it as well, or just 1 copy when you don't. And then all these cards come up in different situations. You try to end on Cerberus past game 1, so you don't have to negate the Lightning Storm with Tri-Gate, which is kind of important. Then just the big Link monsters. Curious, one of the better ones as well. It just toolboxes any card you need out of your deck. Tri-Gate, I don't think anyone let me do the full combo. I think they all just conceded before, which was kind of sad. I like styling on my opponent, but it happens. The Protector, hand traps, and then obviously Bortle Sword. Oh, well, Bortle Load, and then Bortle Sword. Yeah, so I decided to play both of them because I wanted to respect Sleeper. In the mirror match, Sleeper, as everyone remembers from back in the day, is just really hard to out in the mirror. Phoenix, Unicorn, and Cerberus make it a lot easier, but if still you can go into a simplified game state where they hand trap you, you hand trap them back, and you summon a Bortle Load, and while they have Sleeper, you can just take theirs, summon your own, and then the game should practically end from there. It's really hard to come back from that.
So it came up a lot this weekend?
Yeah, it came up, not versus the Spiral, actually. I played versus, not Metafist, it was the Worm deck, the Tenyi deck. So I got really scared because I actually thought the deck was very interesting when it first came out, and I figured out it can extra link you with 2 cards. So when he started with the same 2 cards I know is an extra link, I thought I was just gonna have to concede. But we just ended on 2 monsters that like were unaffected. I can't die by battle. This was like my only way to like get rid of them.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so if it wasn't, I summoned it twice because he compulsed it. If it wasn't for this card, I would have lost that match instantly. Like I just would not have an out says monsters. Then most importantly, the side deck. I thought the side deck was the best part of my deck because it covered almost everything. So 2 Lancia, also wanted to respect Orcust, if just in case someone wanted to try it, or Dinos. I actually never sided it in. The only time I sided it in was in the mirror match. In top 8, I made Hani go first. I just wanted to have as many hand traps as possible. So like even if it wasn't the most optimal one, he ends on a weaker board, and he would have sided out some of his engine requirements to make his board even weaker. So I just wanted to be able to stop him somewhat and be able to attack for game. Tunabiru, I'm not a big fan of this card. I think it's like the least impactful hand trap, at least in the Spiral mirror match, because it can be played around so easily, or like when you get in a beard, you can just continue comboing. It's really good versus the Salad deck, but Salad shouldn't be as popular right now, at least in my personal opinion. But it's just nice overall. It's really good versus the Luna deck, but I just don't think the Luna deck's as strong as people believe it is, so I didn't want to respect it too much. 2 Twin, back row, to mind control. You just have to outwind. I can't stress that enough. How Winda is just ridiculous. So you have to play mind control. Then now these are the cards that should be in everyone's side deck. 2 Dark Ruler, 2 Lightning Storm, and then 2 Evenly. So these are like the blowout cards, the ones that like if you draw them you should win the game. Evenly and Storms are for back row decks. Evenly and Rulers are typically for combo decks. The reason you see everything in my side deck is a 2-2 split is because I wanted to side so many different cards. I just did not have the room. It's the same thing for the hand traps in the main deck. I just wanted to have variety for a tournament like this with a lot of high caliber players. There's a lot of people that are going to be trying to like just play a deck different than meta to just do well because they know it can be consistent and they're a good player. So I just didn't want to lose to just random things during this event. Even though like you can afford to lose once or twice, I just didn't want to lose to Rogue or just a random deck that someone's a boss monster or anything like that. And then last card, a pointer. So I chose this as like my curious target or my Griffin target. This card's ridiculous. People don't respect it. The fact that I get to see your whole hand is huge. Like I can just negate the exact cards I need to. And then I drew it 2 other times that I didn't Griffin it. I drew it round 11 or it was, I drew it with combo. I got double hand trapped in my combo, so I'm like, okay, that's fine. Set a pointer. I know I can kill him the following turn. I had pointer, look at his hand. He had evenly double droll and manifestation. So like, it just didn't matter what card I took out of his hand. He just could not play. And then on my next turn, since I have full knowledge, I just made a Bortle Sword, searched off my master plan, and then killed him. Wow. It was just like knowledge is so important in Yu-Gi-Oh, and people don't. I don't think people respect that, and that's why I thought this was the best one out of all of them. Nice. So that's everything. 41, 15, 15, and then this prize card, I guess. Yeah, free prize card.
All right, Ruben. Well, congratulations again, top 4, my friend. You deserve it as always, man. Next time you get that win, man.
Next time.
This
yeah.
3v3.
3v3.
But yeah.